Hello. This is going to be a quick guide on the Hellclock meta for patch 1.2. And I'm pretty confident this is the meta at this point. I don't think there's really any debate that this is the thing to do. And what's really cool about this meta, and why I think you should watch the video, is it works on a bunch of different builds. It actually works on pretty much any hit-based build that does physical, lightning, or plague damage, or can convert their damage type into any of these. So if you have a fire damage skill like Metadera that can convert into fizz with one of the relics, that works too. But yeah, let's get into it. So here we are in game. And the thing we can do here is orb abuse, or ball abuse, as we lovingly like to call it, to bully Monddoc and tell him that he put his balls inside the game. Anyhow, so you will notice I have a build here, and I have 3 balls, or 3 orbs. I have another build here with 4 balls, and another one that's empty, that's also going to have 3 balls eventually, but I haven't made the build yet. Anyway, so why are we stacking balls? We are stacking balls because they're very strong, obviously. So what do? And what are they? To begin with, the thing to know about the orbs, how to get them. They are a pseudo rare drop from Abyss difficulty and above. So Abyss, Oblivion, and Void can drop the orbs. They're a 0.25% drop chance, I believe, per relic seen. So you see a window of 4 relics. Each of those have a 0.25% chance to be the orb. That sounds very rare. But you can see many windows in a run. If you go and you earn like 70,000 gold in a run, which you absolutely can, you can actually earn way more than that if you're really set up for it. You can get like 15 to 20 rerolls of that window every run. And that's going to let you see like 4 times 15 relics, or like, what is that? It's 60 relics, at least 60 relics per run. So then you can kind of see it's not, as crazy. So once you've gone and collected your orbs, and you have 1 of each, or at least these 3, these are the important ones. What can you do with them? So the thing they do is they give you a reason to stack devotion points beyond your normal completion requirements on your constellation tree. So each constellation, as you know if you play the game, will have a completion requirement. So under completion bonus, they'll also have a requirement. Now I have a bunch of things there, like devotion, so I don't have requirements shown on anything. But just as an example, St. Paul here gives a 666 completion bonus and has a 666 requirement. So it gives 6 to each devotion, which is why every ball build will probably be using St. Paul's, because that is by far the best devotion scaling in the game. So that's what devotion is, that's what it does. Now, why do we stack the balls? So each of them give you a buff for penetration linked to a damage type. So the Earth Orb gives physical penetration. The Lightning Orb is going to give you, the Air Orb is going to give you lightning penetration. The Water Orb gives you Plague, and the Fire Orb gives you Fire. Secondarily, and most importantly, they give you a mod that for each Discipline Devotion point, Discipline Devotion is the green one, you gain 10% multiplicative damage, but lose 5% flat crit damage. And lastly, you get, for each Faith Devotion, the blue one, you're going to lose 1% base crit and gain 7% additive attack speed. All right, so with the kind of mechanics out of the way, why is it really, really good? So the mod that you can completely destroy the game with, kind of all 3 of them are insanely good, but the really, really dumb one is the middle one, the Discipline Devotion stacking, because it's multiplicative. So what you can do is if you make 3 damage types convert or converge into the same type, the only way to do that currently is by using a physical or a lightning or a plague damage type skill, and then using your constellation tree to convert them all into plague. So that'll let you scale your 10% multiplicative physical damage is going to apply to your skill, because you're converting physical damage to plague. You'll get your lightning damage converted to plague, so it applies here, and you get it here. from the plague damage. Obviously, you're doing plague damage. So in the end, what that gives you at 25 discipline points of multiplicative scaling is 3.5 times damage per orb. 25 is 250% more damage. That's 3.5 times your damage. And you get it 3 times, and they multiply. They don't stack additively, they stack multiplicatively. So the math is like so, times 3.5 times 3.5. So you get, with 25 discipline points, 42 times damage. Which is so much better than anything else you've ever been able to do with the game. It's not even funny. And additionally to that, at 17 Fury, with a T3 relic, it's not even a tier 4 relic. Right? Like it's literally not even max rolled. If it was max rolled and you had a 6.75 pen, you would be getting, was it 17? I believe it was 17, correct? 17. 17 times 6.75. 114 flat penetration. So it's not actually penetration. It removes their resistance is rather what it is. It's like a curse, basically. So it works like the Judgment one. Judgment is 20%. And Judgment doubles the damage of most builds that can use it. 114. Just let that sink in how big that number is. It's completely disgusting. And additionally, you get disgusting attack speed. So this build doesn't have any attack speed scaling anywhere on the build at all, apart from the orbs. It has 436% attack speed. The reason the cooldown number isn't completely disgusting and is 160 is because St. Paul's gives you minus 65% multiplicative cooldown reduction. But that's fine. That's completely fine, because it removes your cooldowns anyways. So you can see something like Prayer of Health. It just goes completely crazy, and you'll notice my conviction is over-sustaining a lot. So, how do you make this happen? How do you set it up? And what do I recommend? The mechanics you need to make this happen, to get the really, really good scaling, is these 3 orbs. You can do it with 2 orbs. I'll show you the difference between a 1, a 2, and a 3 orb setup in a bit. But even a 1 orb setup is going to be better than a 0 orb setup. So basically always use them. But what you do with your constellation tree and how hard you lean into discipline points over getting mods you might want on your build will depend on how many orbs you have. At 3 orbs, you can pretty much just stack discipline and win. To look at the mandatory mods you're going to need to make this work, you're going to need physical to plague conversion. That converts all physical damage bonuses to plague damage. This is what enables the Earth Orb that gives a physical damage bonus. All right, so it enables it into being now physical that works for plague. Fantastic. Additionally, you are going to want this node. So this node gives you the same thing, but for lightning damage, which is very, very good. All right. So now you have 3 orbs. This one now also works. Great. So now you're running 3 orbs. Of course, the water orb, it's plague to begin with. It works. Yeah, it makes sense. What else do you want to grab? I highly recommend you grab the plague wheel. No shit, you know? You grab the plague wheel on the plague build. And I recommend you grab this new explode wheel. And what this does is this allows you to have crazy, crazy good clear on every single build in the game, pretty much. If you combo it together with this AoE reel here. You don't need to take this down here, but you can if you want to, and it's pretty fun. So the plague is enabled by getting wither build-up rate relics. If you're running quills, you'll need a couple less of them, because Quills has a global buff, where this one has skill area of effect right at the bottom, that gives wither build-up rate multiplicative. It's not a crazy difference, but it's a difference. I have quite a lot of wither build-up rate. I have more than necessary at 57. It was, I think, enabled at around 37. I have significantly more than necessary for Oblivion. If you're on Void, you might want to get a little bit more, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. In any case, just keep getting the relics until it works, right? So these nodes are specific for my build, the whole wheel over here. And so is this node. So if you're not playing Blood Veil, You don't need to take these nodes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes that you can put wherever you want. Technically, again, technically, the AoE in the Plague Explosion is also not mandatory, but it's very good. I highly recommend you try it, and then come back and tell me you want to spec out of it after having tried it. If you aren't playing my build, again, you can take these nodes and put them into projectile. You can take these nodes and put them into Star Mother over here. Crazy good node as well. You can complete the whole wheel if you have the points for it. If you can spend the 4 points on something else that gives you a similar amount of discipline, similar like 3 discipline as well, you could do that. You could use it on mechanics, anything you really want. It's pretty much worth specking down and grabbing this unless you're a mana stacker. Kind of no matter what. It's a lot of damage unless you really need the mana. So there's constellations out of the way. Let's get back to kind of what skills you can play with this and what to do. And how big, most importantly, does the number get? So what happens to your damage when you put all these orbs on? Apart from it going really, really high and something like Bloodveil ticking for 5 billion, which is a thing that does no damage otherwise, basically. It has no scaling, very little. What does this actually do for your like percentage damage to Plague? So that's a good way to look at it. You can come and look at this number. 2,956% Plague damage without the orbs. Now, observe. 1 orb. 10,000 damage. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. That's the more damage scaling, right? 3.5 times damage. Pretty good. But now we multiply that by 3.5. 42,000. And again. 148. And it's not, you know, yeah. You can see the problem. Everything does damage if you do this. Literally everything. This is a non-Quills build. I have no Quills relics on or anything like that, right? Quills hits for a substantial 51 million. Now, if you actually played a Quills build, you can get Quills to hit for multiple billions per Quill. Yes, that is the case. Now, what else can you do with these? You can also try and stack the hell out of the attack speed mod. That's the other thing you can do. And the best thing to stack attack speed on, if you're not going to care about the middle mod, but just one mod at a time, is bleed. Bleed is the way to go. I'm not going to show the bleed setup right now. Maybe in the future if it pans out well. It's a little iffy on how much I like it right now. Again, the attack speed mod here is additive, so it's not quite as good. But this build has 725% attack speed. It has 820, I believe, when you've actually spec'd the build correctly. Which is pretty good, and it has enough agility orbs that you get double attack speed in runs. So we end up with 1600% attack speed, which is a lot of bleed stacks. Very fun. But it struggles a bit surviving. It does struggle a little bit surviving on Void. And you do need to play it on Void if you want to test it, because on Oblivion it kills Nina before you're done ramping. So that kind of sucks. So we have to test on Void. Anyhow. And another thing to be aware of, now that we are, in the multiply our damage area, this relic is really, really good. A lot of people don't know it, but this is actually multiplicative damage. It's not multiplicative, but it's base damage. So it's 20% more damage per dash. So observe, we have 3. We'll just kind of, you know what? We'll hold down our Prayer of Health to cap our conviction to get more sustainable numbers here. So kind of like 9.8, 9.9 area, right? As our conviction flickers a little bit up and down. We dash 5 times. Should be around 19, 18. Yeah. So this just straight up doubles your damage. In case, for me, somehow this gives me a little bit more than double damage. Don't know why. Oh, what? No, I was at 9 point something. It is pretty much exactly double damage. So yeah. Skull of the Beast is good if you can run dash, but you don't need this. Again, you have a 42 times damage multiplier. You're fine. You're fine. Trust me. So yeah, that's what you do. You convert it into Plague and you scale Plague damage. And it's easy to craft for because you can do 2x1s like this that just have percentage physical on it. Physical works, lightning works, and Plague works. They're all exactly the same. because we're all converting them into the same base type, and then they add up additively, so it's exactly the same. You just kind of stack those, and that's where I get most of my percentage. If you want to get even more, you could just not run mana percent on your build on these. I run it because it gives me my base damage, and you could just run percent increase. Might even be better for me. I haven't done a ton of testing on that, and I don't really care because I kind of like being tanky. Yeah, and that's everything. So that's the video. And if anyone has any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments. If I accidentally edited out something important or left something out that I forgot, didn't think about, make sure to ask. Otherwise, that's about it. Enjoy making builds, do a lot of damage, and yeah, have fun in Hellclock, guys.